I think that really is a key part of the success of Occupy. However, it expresses itself this spring. It was the actual community, not just a virtual community. You know, it's interesting, my colleague Sharif Abdel-Quddus, who broadcast from Tahrir for those 18 days, how many of you heard Democracy Now!'s coverage? If you didn't, you can watch it online at democracynow.org. It was truly amazing. Sharif is an incredibly brave Egyptian-American journalist who went home to cover this. It shocked him as well, because he had grown up in a dictatorship and did not think it could be overthrown. He was the grandson of the greatest writer of Egypt, Hassan Abdel-Quddus, and his great-grandmother was Rosal Youssef, a great writer. So he comes from a very illustrious family, but could never actually believe that there would be any kind of freedom there. And then he lands in Tahrir. He said Mubarak's first mistake was turning off the internet. Because he said, after all, we are Egyptian. We would have been home on Facebook and on the internet finding out what's going on. And when he turned off the internet, we had to go outside and see for ourselves. And it was that power that people often can't express. And you feel it in encampments. You saw it in Tahrir. People felt it there, is that they felt a kind of freedom in real community. So you go from the digital age of this century, but coming back to that real warmth and possibility of what it means to recreate a constructive community. So I think that is the greatest hope of how we live together. How Democracy Now! Fits into that is it brings out the voices of people all over in community who are struggling to make the world a better place. And that's why I think that independent media in radio, television, on the internet is so important, because it's not beholden to these entities that break community, that put obstacles in the way, hurt community. And so I want to encourage everyone to tune in. And as we wrap up, and as Johan goes out to sign books, tomorrow on Democracy Now!, we may be speaking with Danny Glover. I talked to him early today. He's going to try to get down to Washington tomorrow, because it's Mumia Abu-Jamal's 58th birthday tomorrow. Mumia Abu-Jamal, who was on death row, of course, for so long right here in this state. You know, the reason that Democracy Now! Was taken off of Temple Radio was because we dared to air the voice of Mumia Abu-Jamal. We were completely shocked by this years ago. We were the most popular program on that station. Their program guide said we're using Democracy Now! As a model. They had just sent it out to their listeners. And then we started to air a series of commentaries of Mumia Abu-Jamal. And we were shut down, and they started to play music on the station, saying that people were requesting more music. The problem was their program guide had gone out saying people were very excited about how successful Democracy Now! Was. But it is not about whether you agree with the voice or disagree with the voice, and I think Johan Galtung is the embodiment of this. It's about how important it is to hear people's voices on both sides of the bars, on the death rows of this country, and those of us who are on the other side, who sometimes feel free and at other times feel imprisoned in other ways. That's our job in the media. And the reason it's so important is we have enormous decisions to make, whether we like it or not in this country. We come from the most powerful country on earth. What your country does in the rest of the world has a tremendous impact. And so we have to take responsibility for this, whether we agree with what our country does or what it doesn't. And we have to start with a dialogue. And I think that starts with an open and honest media. So I hope you take many of these, well, yours are a little shorter, but flyers. I hope you tune into Mind TV, channel 35.1, and other channels every day at 6, and other radio stations. But pass them out to your friends, family, leave them in laundromats and coffee shops, and let people know there is a media that builds community, doesn't break it down, you know, not the know-nothing pundits who know so little about so much. So thank you all for coming out. It's been such an honor to be here and such an honor to see Johan Galtung again.
Thank you so much, Amy. My pleasure. Thank you.